Hey there, today I wanted to make a Hunter's Crucible guide. First off, we have to get the food buff here on the map that you can see here at ARPTs. You can get the attack percentage food buff, that is what I prefer. The crit damage one is also okay to use, but I was using the attack percentage one, but both of them is fine to use. Don't forget to get your witch buff as well, and you can even get your fountain blessing if you wanna avoid getting one shot one time. Here is my gear for my characters. My Shinku Eroi doesn't have skills leveled, as you can see here, and MC doesn't have her weapon leveled and her skills leveled, and Skier doesn't have basically anything leveled. He's just there for the passive from Remora. So my teams are not fully built, but my main characters are fully built, like Shinku and Lacrimosa has pretty good gear. It's not perfect gear, but it is mostly free stat gear, so keep that in mind. Also, since I did get the 15% universal damage from my witch buff today, all of the stats will have 15% more universal damage than normal. Also, my Shinku, as you can see here, is basically not built either too much. I just have some really basic stuff on her with level 1 skills, because I just didn't have enough resources to actually build her. My Sakiri is A1, which is the only character that has any copies, but you can do this without A1 Sakiri without any issues. As you will see here in a little bit, I actually forgot to put on Sakiri's weapon, which is a bigger buff than A1. I was at 8 food buff here. If you pay attention to my food buff from the other clips in the video, you will notice that 8 is actually the last clip of the video. So I basically did the entire Crucible without Sakiri weapon, and I was doing the last boss and the last recording, and I was wondering why my damage was so low due to Chaos Risk and not having Sakiri weapon. And I go in here and I check, and I've been doing all of them without Sakiri weapon on. I just wanted to include that clip without cutting anything, so you could see that I actually did it without Sakiri weapon. This is why you do not need A1 Sakiri, because I even did it without the weapon, which is a bigger buff than the A1 itself when you don't have a weapon on. So you might see me using Shinku and Lacrimosa to clear all of these stages, but there is other teams that also work. I have heard some doing Blossom team, but I'm not sure if it can actually clear. I know for a fact that the Break team will Sanku main DPS can also clear. I did see a CN clear of it as well, all A0, so that can clear as well, along with Lacrimosa and Shinku. I think those are the 3 main teams that are actually clearing this, but I'm sure there are other teams that people will cook up for clearing. I unfortunately do not actually have the resources to try any other teams. I was going to put this video out as soon as Hunter's Crucible released, but unfortunately I had to wait a few days to get my pixels to actually gear my Shinku, as my Shinku wasn't level 80 and she didn't have level 10 skills, so I had to grind for that for a few days before I could put this video out. I was stuck on 88k points for a little while. But that is gonna be everything for this video. We have gone over a bit of the team comps. You have seen my gear, my team comps. We have gone over the buffs and preparation. There's one more thing I would like to mention before you enter the stages. Well, specifically Shinku, you'll want to stack up your passive outside the Crucible, because when you re-challenge the Crucible, the passive will not be stacked. So every time if you do fail a run, you'll have to exit Crucible, get your 8 stacks, and then enter back in, which is really annoying. Another thing as well, if you are using the food buff, which I highly suggest you do, when you press retry after a stage, your food buff will be gone, so you have to reuse your food buff every time you press re-challenge, so keep that in mind as well. Think that is everything for the voiceover. There is one more thing I would like to mention that I will also go over on the Morphix clip, or I'll just go over it now. The timer you see under the mob's HP bar is not a real timer. It's around 3 to 4 seconds off. We are assuming this is because they're giving us time for the boss to actually spawn, as some of them are invulnerable or can't be attacked in the first few seconds when they're spawning, like bosses like the Debt Collector. Or there's also some bosses where you can't TP to the boss with the Esper cycle, so you have to run closer to the boss. So to make up for losing those few seconds, we are assuming that's why the seconds are not lining up. But you'll see that on my Morphix clear that the timer is at 0, but the actual clear timer is 1:26. So keep that in mind. If you are 1 or 2% off whenever the timer reaches 0, just do the full clear, because you might actually clear in time still. That is all of the tips and bugs and stuff I have noticed for Crucible. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below and I'll make sure to answer them. Although I think we have gone over pretty much everything we really need to know about Crucible. Hope this guide actually helps you out clear Crucible. And I will cue the gameplay and the music, as it is quite a long video with all the actual gameplay in the background. And I do not have things to talk about for 21 minutes. So, hope to see you next time.
I'd say I've seen it all. I'm born in the darkest hour. I've got a scar-shaped flower tattooed on my shoulder. Reminds me of the beauty that exists no longer. Don't let your weakness show. My brother told me so. They smell a mouse away, so I left my fears at the doors I step into.
So as you can see here, we are nearing the end of Morphix, and you can see it's really close with the timer here, and it actually reaches 0 and disappears, but the challenge is still successful. You can see it's 1 minute and 26 seconds. So this is what I was speaking about earlier, that the timing for the actual under the boss HP and the actual clear timing are 2 different timings. It's around 3 to 4 seconds off, so you can still get the clear even if you are a bit off in timing. That is everything for this video. I will cue the last boss gameplay, and that's gonna be all from me on the voiceovers. Hope you enjoyed the gameplay and hope it helped you out. Hope to see you next time.
Isn't it so incredible? We're here sharing the same time and space.